The night started with a text that made Owen's hands go unsteady. His pregnant wife, Mia, had been taken to the hospital for monitoring. The doctor called it a precaution, but the word hospital has a way of turning calm thoughts into panic. Owen drove too fast, city lights smearing into long streaks, his mind racing ahead of him. Inside, the smell of sanitizer and the low hum of machines wrapped around his nerves. He checked in, answered questions, signed papers, and waited. Time thickened. The chairs felt harder than they should. The wall clock sounded louder than a clock has any right to sound. He replayed his last conversation with Mia over and over, wishing he'd held her a little longer before she left the house. A nurse finally told him Mia was resting. "No visitors yet," she said kindly. "She needs sleep." Owen nodded, grateful and restless at the same time. He sat down, elbows on his knees, staring at the tiled floor like it might offer answers. That's when he noticed someone else in the waiting area. Across from him sat Nadia, Mia's mother. She wore a simple coat and held her phone without looking at it. Under the bright hospital lights, worry made her look older, more lined than usual. They'd always kept things respectful between them, careful and polite, never close. Tonight felt different from the start. They exchanged a quiet hello. No small talk followed. Silence settled, heavy and shared. Owen felt a strange relief that she was there, someone who loved Mia as fiercely as he did. Minutes passed, maybe an hour. The vending machine buzzed. A cart rattled somewhere down the hall. Nadia stood and returned with 2 cups of water. She handed one to Owen. Their fingers didn't touch. "Thanks," he murmured. "She be okay," Nadia said, though her voice shook around the edges. "She's always been strong." Owen nodded. "I know. My mind keeps jumping to everything that could go wrong." Nadia sighed again. "That means you care." The words were quiet, but they stayed. Owen realized he'd been holding his breath. He let it out slowly. Then they started talking without the usual carefulness, without formal distance. It was like the night gave them permission. Nadia told stories of Mia as a child, scraped knees, school plays, the fearless way she climbed too high and laughed. About it, Owen listened, smiling at moments he'd never heard. Somehow those stories made Mia feel nearer, safer. Then Nadia paused and said, "When you become a parent, fear doesn't disappear. It just changes shape." Owen stared at his hands. "I'm scared I won't be enough." Nadia studied him for a beat, then nodded. "That fear doesn't really leave either." The honesty startled him. He'd never heard her speak like this. She seemed less like a mother guarding her daughter and more like a person carrying a long history. The clock crawled toward midnight. Nadia kept looking toward the hall that led to Mia's room. Then she said quietly, "When my husband died, I learned how lonely waiting rooms can be." Owen didn't interrupt. The words had weight. "Loss opens old doors," Nadia continued, voice low. "I sat in places like this, telling myself to be strong. Some nights, strength felt like acting." Owen felt tightness in his chest. He understood more than he wanted to. "I'm trying to be strong," he admitted, "but I don't know what that even means anymore." Nadia looked at him, really looked. Not judging, not testing, just seeing. "It means staying," she said, "even when you're terrified." A nurse walked by, and the lights flickered slightly as the hallway shifted with movement. The space felt smaller, warmer, more focused. Owen and Nadia shared a brief smile, human, necessary. And then Owen noticed something that made him uneasy. The comfort he felt was real. It wasn't wrong, but it was unexpected, being understood at the exact moment he felt most exposed. He shifted in his seat. "I should check for an update," he said, standing too fast. Nadia nodded. "Of course." Owen took a few steps, then stopped. The desk wasn't staffed. Visiting hours were over. He stood there, unsure, then turned back. Nadia hadn't moved. She looked tired now, almost smaller. Owen felt a sudden sense of responsibility, not just for Mia and the baby, but for the fragile balance of this night. "I'm glad you're here," he said carefully. "Me too," Nadia replied. They sat again, a little farther apart this time. The closeness from before softened to something quieter, respectful, safe. Then a nurse returned with news. Mia was stable, and the baby's heartbeat was strong. Relief washed over Owen like a wave. His shoulders dropped, and only then. "Did you realize how rigid he'd been?" Nadia closed her eyes and whispered a thank you. When she opened them, they were wet, but she didn't let tears fall. The night was still long, but it no longer felt endless. Owen leaned back, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how thin the lines can be between fear, comfort, and connection. He understood that nights like this test people in ways they don't expect. And as the clock kept moving, he sensed something important had begun quietly. Carefully, something he'd have to handle with wisdom when morning came. The waiting room felt different after the good news. Relief softened the air, but it didn't erase the tension that lingered underneath. Owen stayed seated, exhausted but alert. The fear hadn't vanished. It had only reshaped itself. Nadia walked to the window at the end of the hall. Outside, the city slept under scattered lights. She stood there a long time, arms folded as if she was holding herself together. Owen watched her, then looked away, unsettled by the pull of that quiet sadness. A nurse offered coffee. Owen took 2 cups and brought one over. "It's awful," he said, handing it to her. "But it's warm." Nadia's mouth lifted into a faint smile. "Warm is enough tonight." They leaned against the wall, close enough to share the moment, far enough to keep it clean. Silence returned, but it wasn't heavy now. It was honest. Nadia spoke first. "When you wait like this, your mind goes everywhere," she said. "Past, future, places you try not to visit." Owen nodded. "I keep thinking about the day Mia told me she was pregnant." I was happy and terrified at the same time. Nadia exhaled through her nose. "That never stops, even when they're grown." Owen glanced at her. "Does it ever get easier?" Nadia shook her head. "No, you just learn how to carry it." Carry it. Those words stayed with him because that's exactly what the night felt like, something heavy resting on his chest. They walked back to the chairs. The clock read nearly 2 in the morning. The hallway was quiet now, almost empty, and the world outside felt far away. Nadia stared at her hands. "I didn't expect my life to turn out like this," she said suddenly. "I thought I'd grow old with someone. Instead, I learned how to grow older alone." Owen listened without trying to fix it. He'd learned some pain only wants to be heard. "I raised Mia mostly on my own," Nadia continued. "I worked, worried, smiled when I had to. People think strength is not breaking. They're wrong. Strength is breaking and still standing." Owen felt something shift inside him. He'd never heard her speak like this, no performance, no careful mask, just truth allowed to exist. "I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something," Owen admitted. "A new life, a new role. And I don't know if I'm ready." Nadia looked at him, eyes steady. "No one is ready," she said. "Love pushes you forward anyway." Their eyes held a second too long. Owen felt it instantly and looked away. Not attraction, not desire. Recognition, the kind that makes you pause. Nadia cleared her throat. "I'm glad Mia chose you," she said. "You care. That matters more than you realize." Owen swallowed. Praise felt dangerous tonight because it touched a place already raw. He stood and paced a few steps, then stopped. "I don't want to cross any lines," he said. Voice calm but firm. "Tonight is hard. I just want to do the right thing." Nadia nodded slowly. "So do I." They both understood what almost formed between them. Not something wrong, but something fragile, the kind of emotional closeness that can blur boundaries. When people are tired and afraid, they sat again with more space between them. The distance felt necessary. A doctor walked by and confirmed it. Mia was resting well, no complications, baby doing fine. Owen felt his chest loosen. Nadia exhaled deeply. "Thank you," she whispered, though she didn't say to whom. The hospital grew quieter as the night thinned toward morning. Owen leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment, imagining the future holding his child, supporting Mia, becoming someone steadier than he'd been yesterday. When he opened his eyes, he saw Nadia watching the hallway again, but she looked calmer now, lighter. "I'll stay until morning," Owen said. "Mia shouldn't wake up alone." Nadia smiled, real this time. "She won't, she has you." She stood and picked up her coat. "I'm going home for a few hours. I'll try to rest." As she walked away, she turned back once. "Owen," she said softly, "tonight doesn't have to mean anything more than what it was." He nodded. "I know." And she left, her footsteps fading. Owen sat alone again, but not lonely. The night had tested him fear, relief, and a confusing closeness that reminded him how human he was. He looked toward Mia's room, steadier. Now, whatever lines had appeared in the quiet hours were still intact. And as the hospital clock moved toward morning, he understood something simple. Love isn't just a feeling. It's a choice you keep making, especially when no one is watching. Morning arrived without drama. Pale light slid through high windows, turning the hallway soft and gray. Owen hadn't slept, but he felt lighter, like the night had taken something sharp from him and replaced it with something steady. A nurse finally allowed him into the room. Mia lay in bed, face calm, one hand resting on her stomach. When she opened her eyes and saw him, relief flooded her expression. "You're here," she whispered. "Always," Owen said, taking her hand carefully. For a moment, neither of them needed words. The quiet beeping, the rise and fall of her breathing, the simple fact that she was safe, this was enough. "I was scared," Mia admitted after a while. "Not just for the baby, for us." Owen squeezed her hand. "Me too." He told her the truth, but not every detail. He spoke about waiting, about fear, about her mother staying with him through the night. He told her how alone he'd felt, until he realized he wasn't alone at all. Mia gave a faint smile. "She worries too much. She loves you," Owen replied. "Yeah," Mia said quietly. "She always has." Later that morning, Nadia returned. She looked more rested now, hair brushed, face calmer. When she entered the room, Mia reached for her immediately. Mother and daughter shared a moment that didn't need an audience.